Hey to my wonderful Just Therapy UK people. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed to this channel so far. I'm almost to my 1,000 subscribers. So please, if you haven't subscribed and you do not want to miss future uploads, then please think about subscribing, because it really will help this channel and it will help it grow and hopefully reach more people, to help more people work on themselves, especially those people who cannot afford therapy, that look to YouTubers to maybe find some tips and tools to help them navigate life. So please, think about helping me by subscribing, sharing my videos to somebody that might need them. So hopefully this channel will grow. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about confidence. I'm going to give some variations of what confidence means and how you can navigate that in your life. So if you want to join me, then please stay tuned and let's dive right in. So I have a lot of clients that come to me and talk to me about they lack confidence. And a lot of the time it's either they lack confidence in relationships, they lack confidence in dating, they lack confidence in work, they lack confidence in family. And I hear a lot of the time that, especially when it comes to speaking out for themselves, standing up for themselves, one of the first things they'll say is, I don't like confrontation. I don't want to be angry because I don't like confrontation. And so when I work with clients, a lot of the time it's difficult to, when you're sort of talking on a video, because everyone is different. Everyone comes to me with something that is different to somebody else. So I have to then, in a sense, kind of talk about my therapy in regards to that specific client, which then might not work for somebody else, which is why it's really important that when you do go to therapy, that you really do go with somebody that is trained, and especially in the field that you might be interested in, because sometimes, and I see this a lot on social media, where there are people that are not qualified and they give terrible advice. And unfortunately, when I look in the comments, I see people lap that up. And it's so worrying to me, because I think you don't realize how much damage you can cause by giving somebody the wrong tips and tools. Yes, you have to take responsibility in yourself and what you watch and what you see, because I see a lot of people sometimes in the comments, especially in my other channel, I will get critique for something because I'm a therapist. But what I say to them is, I am a therapist, but I'm also human. And even though this channel is solely about therapy and life coaching and aspects of mental health, the other one isn't so much. However, I'm entitled to have my own personal opinions. But what can happen with therapy is that I understand that my personal opinions can differ from being a therapist. So you have to be very careful not to bleed those in to one another. Your personal opinion can bleed into therapy. So that's why, as a therapist, you have your own therapy, you have supervision, and you work on those things so they don't then bleed into working with a client. So when it comes to confidence, the first thing I would say is, how do you know you're not confident? What happens to you? In what areas are you not confident in? And if there are areas that you are confident in, how is it that doesn't translate over to this particular thing that you're not confident in? So you have to find out a little bit of the background of what is going on for the client, then you can work with them accordingly. So let's go with the first one. So dating. I get this a lot, where people come to me and they say, you know what, I'm confident in a lot of areas in my life, but I'm not confident with dating. And a lot of the main reason is because of rejection. So the first thing I would say is, before going into dating, in my opinion, the best thing to do is to work on yourself. So for example, if you are not confident in dating, there will be a reason, whether it be that you've gone through some terrible things in other relationships, you've had some really bad experiences with dating and they've started to take hold, or there has been stuff that's gone on in your childhood that you've not worked on. There'll be some reasons why that when you go into dating that you're not confident. So let's kind of look at those things. So if you don't work on yourself and you then still decide that you want to go into dating, one of the first things I would always say to somebody is, when you date, do you like everybody that you date? Is every single person you've dated been a yes? And for the most part, people go, no. So then you go, okay, so why is it that you didn't like that person? And obviously come up various reasons, like, for example, whatever it is that we had the date and we just didn't connect, or I didn't like them, or I found them quite rude, or just whatever variation of the reasons are. And so then I would say, well, okay, so how did you tell that person? And I do get a lot of people that will say, well, I didn't talk to them again. So you ghosted them. Yeah. But yeah, if someone ghosts you, how do you feel about that? Oh, well, I'm devastated. Right. So then it comes to, well, that's something you would need to work on. Because if you are somebody that ghosts somebody rather than being open and honest with them, then in a sense, that could be why that you draw in people that do the same to you. Because what I always am of the belief is that we are shown lessons in a sense that we have to work on. And when we work on those things, we become better as human beings, a better version of ourselves. So if you're somebody that perhaps ghosts somebody, then that is something that I would suggest that you work on. And then look at, why are you afraid to tell someone that you are not into them? So then it becomes, what are you afraid of? Well, I'm afraid of their reaction. I'm afraid that I don't want to hurt them. Okay, so then you then go, well, then perhaps that could be why someone does the same to you. And I hope you're kind of seeing what I'm trying to do here. Is, it really is about looking at yourself and how you behave, and then putting that perspective onto somebody else and creating that to be that, okay, that could be how they are. And what this does then, it gives an understanding of how people behave. And so rather than you taking it personally to the point when it hinders or it creates you to feel deeply hurt and upset and rejected, what you then start to have is that compassion in a sense for the fact that, well, you know what, I've done this, so this could be why they're doing it. It doesn't mean that you are a terrible person. It doesn't mean that you are anything bad in a sense. It just could mean that the person that you've dated doesn't know how to effectively communicate that you're not right for them. Now, there's also the other variations of the fact that you will always potentially get somebody that is disrespectful and rude. So you will get somebody that will perhaps tell you that you're not funny enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not thin enough. Or you will get somebody that says, well, you don't earn as much money. I prefer the fact that you drive. Or you still live at home with mum and I have an issue with that. There's always various reasons why somebody may not date you. And this is for men and women. So what you would have then is, okay, have I ever done that? Have I ever looked at somebody on a date and thought, you know what, in your picture, you looked really great, and then I've turned up and not so much. And that's the reason why you don't date them. Have you ever dated somebody where in their picture, perhaps they were a few pounds lighter, and then you meet them and they're a few pounds heavier? And the reason you'll give is, well, they lied on their picture. It might simply be that was because people show their best sides. I mean, in all honesty, I think probably what people should do is just be themselves, but we don't do that because we want to show our the pictures that show us the most handsome or prettiest or slimmest even, whatever we think that people might like. But have you ever judged someone in a sense superficially? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because again, people have a preference. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when someone does that to you, have you ever done that to them? Have you ever dated somebody and in their picture they looked amazing, and then when you met them you're like, you know what, I'm not feeling that attraction. They don't look as nice as what I thought their picture did. I'm not talking about the catfish version. Or like I say, they've put on a few pounds since that picture was taken. So when you can look at someone in a sense superficially, and again, I'm not saying that this is wrong, it's a personal preference. However, compatibility, bodies change, faces change. If you truly want to meet somebody that is a life partner. And yes, I appreciate that attraction to some degree has to be there, but sometimes getting to know somebody creates an attraction. Taking that time to get to know somebody's personality. They might have the best personality on the planet, but sometimes you get rejected because of how you look. So if you have done that, then again, that takes you into, okay, so if I've done that, then in a sense, I know how I've done it. So put yourself in that other person's mindset, and that is why they've done it. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rule. There are people that are rude, disrespectful, that might come back at you and be like, you know what, I don't want to date you because you're not slim enough, or I don't want to date you because you're not buff enough, or I don't want to date you because you're actually 5'5" and I thought you'd be 5'8" or 6 foot. You know, whatever it is, they can have reasons, but it's how they deliver that. Then if you're not somebody that's mean or cruel, that could be devastating to have someone behave that way to you. And what you can do then is that you can internalize that and in a sense create it to be that you're in the wrong. Like, so if I was pretty enough, especially if you find the person very attractive and you've got high hopes on dating that person, it can be quite devastating to get that rejection. However, what I would say is, please think yourself lucky. Because if somebody can speak to you that way, or even behave in a way that is really quite mean and cruel, why would you want to date somebody that behaves that way? Because to me, what is going on for them is they've got their own issues going on, and what they're doing is, in a sense, they're projecting that onto you. Because even if you're not their type, there is a way of delivering that can be nice, that can be respectful. You know what? You seem a lovely person. However, I just feel after our first date, it's probably not going to work. But I really wish you all the best in finding the person that you deserve to be with. There are ways of letting somebody down, but unfortunately, some people don't know how to do that. And some ghost because they are too afraid to tell someone the truth. And if that's the case, don't sit around waiting for them. Just think to yourself, you know what, this person, it's not personal. They just don't know how to deal with telling me that I'm not right for them. And think yourself lucky. Because what you want to do is you want to find somebody that you are compatible with. Somebody that does see you for the amazing person that you are. You want to build a friendship with somebody, someone that's your teammate, somebody that has got your back 24/7 as you've got theirs. And if you don't find that in someone when dating them, then step back, and think, you know what, this person isn't for me, but you know what, the next person might be. And if you're feeling anxious or you're feeling less confident before dating, work on that. Work on the reasons why. Because you are worth finding someone that you want to be with that is compatible to you and is not just based on looks or based on your body type. It's who you are as a person. Your heart, what is in here, doesn't change. Well, I mean, it shouldn't. That creates you to be who you are. And what you want is somebody that sees past, in a sense, everything else, and looks at you for who you are and thinks, you know what, this person is special. Because if someone wants to get to know you, they will make the effort. Do not be under the assumption that if someone tells you that you're amazing and they really want to date you, but then they don't speak to you for 48 hours or a week, and especially if they don't come back with a good enough reason that in your eyes, say no. Because if someone wants to date you, they will date you. If a man or woman wants to date you, they will date you, or they will date you. Because they know there's competition, especially if you're in the dating field. If you're on a dating site or you're out and about, if they see something in you, and to put it bluntly, they will want to lock you down. They will not want you finding somebody else because they will want you. So if they don't make the effort, then find somebody that will. Look at the effort that you would potentially put into somebody. If you saw somebody and you really liked them and there was a potential for a relationship, would you not put the effort in? Because it's a two-way street. It is not just a man needs to make all the effort or a woman needs to make all the effort. You both make the effort. But if you've got somebody that just isn't bothered or creates you to feel less than the amazing person that you are, then ask yourself, why am I entertaining that person? Why would I want a relationship with somebody that actually creates me to feel like I've got a lack of self-worth, like I'm not worthy? And if you are feeling those things, then I implore you, step back, work on them. Because if you don't have, in a sense, that respect for yourself, then it is very hard then to find somebody who does respect you. And what you will potentially do is draw in somebody that doesn't respect you. And because that might be what you're used to, you will think that's a normal relationship. Now, I've always said that I'm not of the mindset, and I do hear this a lot, you can't expect somebody to love you until you love yourself. I feel that needs to be changed. I feel like it's more of a respect thing. If you don't have self-worth, then a lot of the time you will draw in somebody that is of a similar mindset that doesn't appreciate you. But there are times when you are going through some terrible things in your life and you don't feel lovable. You don't feel that you're worthy. Don't ever think that that doesn't mean that you cannot find someone that does. Because one of the best things that you will have is when you meet somebody that actually looks past everything else and sees who you are and loves you for that. That you are sometimes at your ugliest, and I don't mean literally, or maybe literally, you feel ugly, or you're not behaving in the right way. You're going through something and you're acting out because you need to work on that. But you've still got somebody that's by your side and saying, you know what, I'm gonna be there whilst you work through those things, and I'm gonna love you regardless, even when you are, mad or yelling at me or just acting out or whatever it is. That person still loves you. When you wake up in the morning and you're snotty and fluey, and that person still loves you. You do not want somebody that only wants you for your best side. When you are performing at your best, oh, well, then you're lovable. But actually when you're not, not so much. No. Look at how you are. And if you are somebody that would love your partner regardless, no matter, and I don't mean really bad behavior here when the people are toxic and stuff like that, but I'm talking about when your partner is ill, when your partner is going through something and is not at their best, would you still love them? And if the answer is yes, then why do you not accept that from somebody else? If you're willing to give that to somebody, then surely you should accept that back as well. So, and that also goes into, like, we're not talking about dating, but even in relationships. If you are in a very one-sided relationship where you're giving 100% and that all the time, sacrificing elements of yourself, but the other person isn't doing that. And I'm not just talking about maybe because they're going through something. I'm talking about generally speaking. Then what that might tell you is that you're not compatible with that person. And if this has been going on for years, then it might be worth looking at that and thinking, hang on a minute, what am I getting here? I'm giving all of this, but I'm not getting anything back. Now, I'm not saying that that can't be worked on, because sometimes you can go to that person and say, hang on a minute, look, I'm unhappy. Don't blindside somebody and just walk away from the relationship. Communicate. The best thing you can do in any relationship is communicate, first and foremost. Communicate. So if you have got those issues and you are feeling less confident in that relationship as to what you were before, communicate that to your partner. Because if sometimes they just don't see it, you've been together a while, maybe they just don't see it, or you've just lost sight of each other. It happens. Communicate that. But if this person that you're with doesn't listen, and I mean really listen, and want to work with you on those things because he values or she values who you are, then I guess you kind of then maybe look at, why are you staying with somebody? And a lot of the time people stay because they've got kids, and I appreciate that. And I know it's not as simple and cut and dried as that. But what I would really say is just really look at those things. Because you should be in a relationship with somebody that, like I say, you're a team. Even sometimes when you go through really hard times, you still pull together. So if you are feeling like your confidence has dropped in the relationship, the person is not being the same with you, firstly, find out why. Because like I say, they could be going through something themselves and they're just not they just don't know how to communicate that with you. But then maybe step back and then work on yourself, because it is not up to somebody else to make you happy. You have to kind of find that within yourself. However, it is also, as a couple, you to be a really good team. So sometimes when you're performing at 20%, they're there with the 80%, and vice versa. And if that isn't working, then it just might, unfortunately, maybe that you're not compatible with each other anymore. Maybe you were and you've outgrown each other, or yeah, there might be various reasons. Now, if it also comes to confidence within a job, again, it's a similar type of thing. Why? Why are you lacking confidence within that job or within your family? Are you afraid to speak out? And the answer might be because when you've been rejected or you've been put down. There will always be a reason. And I always say this to every single one of my clients: get a journal. Because when something comes up, you're in a situation, say in your job or your family or relationship, and you are reacting to something or you're feeling a lack of confidence, there will always be a starting point. When did it start to happen? Is it mirroring something that happened within your childhood, within your family dynamic? Has it happened in previous jobs? Has it happened in previous relationships or friendships where you've spoken out and perhaps a friend has then rejected you and left you, and you've got these almost attachment issues? So when somebody does that, you're afraid of them leaving. So then it becomes, you really must work on those things, because at the end of the day, why would you want to stay in something, whether it be relationship, friendship, because you're afraid of being alone or you're afraid of being abandoned? So work on those things, because the best thing for you to be is confident within your own sense of self. And you will then hopefully draw in the right people, because you won't be afraid. You won't be afraid to be on your own, single. You won't be afraid to only have maybe a select few friends rather than lots of people that are around you, but they're not really friends. And they'll be the right people in your life. Your life will be so fulfilled that it won't matter to you. And when it comes to your job, I know that can be difficult, because sometimes, especially if you've got mortgages, bills to pay, it's not always that easy. But then if you struggle to speak out in your job, then the best thing to do is even acknowledge why. And you've got to then say to yourself, you know what, I'm choosing to stay in a job that actually I can't be myself, but at the minute I've got bills to pay. So as long as you know it within yourself, even if you struggle, that actually can be quite cathartic within itself. You know the reason why you're not. If I speak out and I challenge my boss, I could get fired. And maybe then attempt to maybe look for a job that is more fitting to you. But at the very least, acknowledge that at least there are the reasons why you're not doing it. And just in that moment, accept that this is the position you're in. But then work on that within yourself. So it's almost like you don't take it personally. You don't get affected by that. It's like, you know what? You're my boss, you're an idiot, and I know that. Not saying that you say that to them like personally, but you know that within yourself. You can have those conversations. You know, whatever goes on in your brain is like your own personal diary. You know, you don't have to say it out loud, but as long as you know it, you know that confidence is there within you, but you're making a choice right now because it's the best thing for you. I have to stay in this job right now because I've got bills to pay, but I know that actually what you're doing is wrong and what I'm doing is right. You know, so most of this is really understanding who you are as a person and knowing yourself. Because once you know yourself, you know why you react to things or how you react to things, and you can kind of pick apart things. There isn't really anyone that can get past you. You know, if I react to something, I've done this work long enough now to know that there will be a reason why. Now, obviously, I check off, am I tired? Am I hungry? Am I just having a generally bad day? You know, whatever it is. And once I've checked those off and I'm still reacting to something, I'm like, okay, you know what, there's something there. I need to work on that. And then, because I know myself, it's not about being perfect. It's not about not reacting to things. It's about knowing why we do what we do and not handing that power over to somebody else. Own it. Own your responses. Own the things that you do. And then you have this almost like impenetrable field in front of you where someone might say something that could potentially be hurtful. And you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to take that on because I know who I am. It doesn't matter. You can say what you like. You can say what you like about me. But I know who I am as a person. And that is the most freeing, cathartic thing that you can have, is when you know who you are, but that takes work. So like I say, the best thing I can say to you is work on yourself. As soon as you're getting those triggers, when it comes to confidence, you're getting a reaction from somebody, or you're reacting to what they're saying or doing, kind of go, you know what, I'm reacting. Why am I reacting to this? Where is this similar to something that's happened, and how do I work on that? And obviously, if you need then outside help, maybe find yourself the right life coach or right therapist to kind of maybe dig that little bit deeper to really help you manage and cope with those things. So I hope you've got something from this video. I am on TikTok if you want to follow me on there, where you get almost like a I'm sorry, I'm suffering with the menopause and I get my words mixed up sometimes, but where you will get a brief synopsis of certain videos. It's a new TikTok channel, so it's hopefully gonna grow. But yeah, so if you don't want to watch like these big videos, then you can go across there and watch smaller ones. So thank you to everyone who has supported me so far. I really do appreciate it. Please don't forget to give this a like. And if you haven't subscribed, then please think about doing so, because it does help the algorithm. And I'm really hoping this channel will grow. And like I say, I really do appreciate all the comments. I will try and answer as many of you as possible. And if I don't get to you, I will try and do that. Email me if you would like to talk to me more, if you would like more tips and advice. If you have any ideas that you would like me to talk about, please again put them below, and I'm adding them to my list, and I will be going through everything. So make sure that you check that notification bell to all, so you do not miss future uploads. I'm trying to do 2 videos a week. If I can do more, I will, but with working full time, running the other channel, plus I'm on TikTok as well, there's just sometimes not enough hours in the day. If you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, the link is below. But in the meantime, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. So take care, stay safe, and like I say, always remember just how amazing you are. So see you soon. Bye.